Welcome back, everyone, to the Comics Cube. This is the first of what I hope will be an ongoing series called Comics Techniques and Tricks, where we take a look at certain comics pages, comics layouts, and we walk through exactly what makes it work and why they look so cool. So for our first one, we have a strip by Bill Watterson from the legendary comic strip Calvin and Hobbes. So what we have here is one of those standard Calvin and Hobbes strips where Calvin is using his imagination because he doesn't really want to be in school. And the thing to note is that for a lot of these, Bill Watterson just ended up doing them simply because he just wanted to draw what is going to go on the page. So in this particular case, he really just wanted to draw dinosaurs, and he really wanted to draw this particular pterodactyl, most likely. One of the things that really strikes me about this is that the pterodactyl is really well drawn, really detailed. As you can see, the detail on the pterodactyl, as well as the sea serpent or dinosaur or whatever it is that comes out of the water, has way more detail than Calvin or his teacher, Miss Wormwood. And you can see here the rocks and the waves as well. You know, there's a lot of work that went into that. So Bill Watterson could have pretty much done any strip that he wanted to. It's a good thing for us that he chose to do Calvin and Hobbes. Now, you will also note, I think it's kind of pretty cool to point out that the pterodactyl's body is kind of parallel, not fully parallel, but it's kind of parallel to the horizon line there of the sea, to the sea line. And the beak of the pterodactyl kind of draws you to it, draws you downwards here, at which point your eye goes up and follows the sea serpent chasing the pterodactyl out. Of course, here in the inset panels, we have Miss Wormwood chastising Calvin for not listening in class. So she's saying, we're studying geography. Now, what state do you live in? And he says, denial. And she says, I don't suppose I can argue with that. One of the things that really strikes me about this is the fact that we don't have any captions that say, oh, hey, this is Calvin's imagination, and Miss Wormwood is representing the sea serpent or the sea dinosaur, and Calvin is the pterodactyl. We have none of that. But our brain fills that in because Watterson knows that our brains will fill that in. One of the ways that our brains will fill that in is because of the general placement of the characters to the dinosaurs. So Miss Wormwood is right here, directly underneath the sea serpent, and Calvin is directly underneath the pterodactyl. You'll notice that the three Calvin and Miss Wormwood panels are imposed right on top of the dinosaur strip. So it's like it's happening completely separately. It's basically two separate strips put together in one. This is a thing that you can only do in comics. You could try to do it in film, but it'll be a little bit more obvious, a little bit more jarring. And in this case, because in comics, space and time are the same thing, it happens simultaneously in your mind. Of course, here, the real genius of this strip for me, despite the fact that there's a lot of detail going on in this particular page, is this big negative space on the lower center. And as you can see in that panel, if you didn't superimpose Calvin and Miss Wormwood on top of that, that would be a big negative space all across that entire bottom row until you see the pterodactyl. So Calvin, having now escaped from the admonishment of Miss Wormwood, has literally escaped, and now flying into the end of the panel, presumably towards the end of the day for him, the pterodactyl goes off on its merry way. Again, the genius of all this is that our Bill Watterson trusts us to have our brains fill in the information, to connect the two separate storylines, and also we do it, right? That's how it works. That's comics. That is Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson.